listening to Cricket World Radio.
And this is Cricket World Around the World.
Welcome to Cricket World Around the World. I'm John Pennington. I'm joined again for this week's show by Jim White. Hello, Jim.
Hello, John.
It's been a busy and exciting week. We're going to talk through some of the major headlines, give listeners an insight to what we've been up to. We've got some brilliant interviews coming up as well. Matt Pryor, Monty Panesar, Muttiah, Muralitharan, Lisa Sthalekar and Amy Watkins. Now, England drew with Sri Lanka at Lords. Time taken out of the game. England not quite bowling as well as they might like. What was your sort of assessment of that game?
Good wicket, I think that's the answer, JP. The Cardiff one towards the end of the game. I mean, people like to see a result, I think, and we've seen wickets around the world that have been high-scoring games. People like runs, which is fine, but it doesn't need to be. If you want a tight, tense game, 1 or 2 wickets left, will they, stave off defeat? Will teams be able to get over the finishing line to try and win it one way or the other? Cardiff was, of course, extraordinary to lose 8 wickets in an hour and something, a session, which is absolutely ridiculous. Unlikely it's going to happen again. Shame really, because the odds I think were 999 to 1, which I forgot to put my £10 bet on for that one. Otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. But no, Lords was a flatter wicket. They're always going to be harder. Sri Lanka weren't going to allow that to happen again. Sort of a regrouping really. So from that perspective, it's always going to be harder for either side, I think, to take 20 wickets. I think it does give England a little bit of a nudge to say that, are they missing Jimmy Anderson? Probably yes. I think that what he brings to the red ball game is something that England were a bit samey. They've got the tallest attack probably ever in English cricket history, but that does mean it's all a bit the same. Anderson is a bit shorter. He does genuinely swing the ball and pitch it up. The other 3 a bit more bang-in bowlers, and I think unless you're seaming it around, which only occasionally they did, it was always going to be hard work, and I think they've seen enough of Swan now to negate him as well.
Do you think that, we anticipate seeing some changes for the third and final test, the Rose Bowl? Anderson, Matt, who misses out? Is Onions in with the chance?
Onions, I would suggest not at this stage.
Jay Dernbach, because he was called up for the Lord's Test.
It was. I think that the Dernbach's a different one in that I think that they're just keeping him in the fold and letting him know that you are in our eyesight. It does let the other bowlers know that it's not a presumption that they'll be playing. I think he's next on the list, but that's about as far as he'll get. I don't think he'll play in any of the India games, to be fair, but he'll be in the squad. And if there are any injuries, then he's the man to come in. Tremlett, I think, is looking good now. He's just starting to realise actually he is a good new ball bowler for England. But I think that the skill here for Strauss is to mix it up, because, as I say, with Anderson coming back, which I think he will do, Finn will probably miss out, I think, out of the 2. Although he played well and it was his home ground, you're not going to drop Broad, and I don't think you drop Tremlett. So I think he'll. But having said that, here's a little one for you: 5 bowlers. Because England, if you're not going to bowl side out with 4 bowlers or 3 and a spinner, you're going to need the extra bowler. Trot's overs were, I wouldn't have minded facing some of them.
He did get a wicket there.
Well, yes.
No, I take
in the bigger scale of things, I think.
I take the point, Jim, but this England setup does seem to be pretty much committed. No, we're going in with 4 bowlers. So
yeah, but I think part of that reason for that is that if you're not sure about your batters, you play one more. Matt Pryor, who has had he's just gone to show how good he is. Probably the best glove man, stroke batsman in the country, maybe in definitely the country, but in world cricket now. If you back him to bat at 6 and to play like he played, then you can play the extra bowler. And Broad isn't a mug. Swan's not a mug with a bat. A bit more responsibility for them. If you need 5 bowlers, England are 1 up in the series. Why not go in with 5 bowlers? Because the worst they'll do is draw the series. And ahead of India, you need to know what you've got up your sleeve.
Shall we talk about Matt Pryor? He's made plenty of headlines this week. Brilliant century to start with. And then just talk us through what happened, and I'm actually going to hear from Matt Pryor for his own version of events, Jim.
Well, we will do, and he was quite perturbed to not being asked the question when we spoke to him, as you well know. But I think he's a great character. What I like about Pryor, and this is something that again someone that's reasonably close to us up here, Darren Bicknell, was saying when he played for England A, was that there is a tendency for players to feel, once they've made that step up, to go into a bit of a shell and bat how they think they should bat, as opposed to get on with it, back yourself and play the way that's got you to where you are. And I think what's really good about Pryor's attitude towards this, and of course Morgan kind of instigated a little bit, is play with freedom, trust yourself and play the way that you know how to play. Don't try and play anything different, because it'll get you into trouble. and secondly, you'll be scratching around, and also you're not helping the run rate. England will push on for runs. I don't mind him batting at 6. Who did he drop? Well, you know my thoughts on that one. I don't think England would losing a number 3 at the moment. There's other people that can do the job. And I think if you're going to play 5 bowlers, which if you're going to win a test match, you need 20 wickets, I've got no problem with Pryor batting at 6.
Right, well anyway, Matt Pryor's sort of test match summed up very briefly. Brilliant century in the first innings, then he managed to break a window in the second innings. Here's how it happened.
Matt, just still talking here, for the record. Yeah. So, the bat bounced.
Yeah.
They've got bouncy change rooms at Lords. Are they padded? Is it because of the noise that comes out when people are a bit upset? What happens?
You see, half of my teammates here have taken one look at me and gone, we know what you like when you got out. You threw the bat through the window. But honestly, it was a complete accident and quite a disaster, really. I'm in the dressing room in the corner, and my bat's sort of up there, and I've had to put the bat up, and it's ricocheted off the wall into the... I know it sounds like an absolute fable, but thankfully the coach was a sawed-all, and he's backed me up. So
Well, absolutely right. And of course, I mean, it's to have glass in a pavilion at a cricket ground. I mean, maybe Lords would be thinking about their own health and safety.
someone said to me this morning, actually, if I had hit the ball for 6 and cracked a window and it splattered the members, what would they have said then? Would they still have been upset? But no, it wasn't the case, unfortunately. But yeah, a complete accident, and something that's actually quite funny when you look at it.
All I was going to say, it's a great story to tell. Are you amazed at the amount of coverage it's got?
It's, it was only a few days earlier I got 100, and I think I maybe got about 3 lines in a newspaper, and you shatter a window and suddenly it's all over the place. So I think a few sponsors are happy about it, but I know Slazenger are. But it's a fickle world we live in.
Yeah, I know, it's funny. I actually spotted a tweet from Tino Best, which I thought was quite amusing for him to make a comment about breaking windows. You saw that one?
Yeah, exactly. I've not actually seen any of them, but there's been a few. I was actually playing golf this morning, and a few shouts from across the fairways, watch the windows, and I'm sure I'll get a bit of it tonight as well.
Best to be in the news than not, I think.
Well, for the right reasons.
Enjoy the summer. Thanks, Matt.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
That's quite extraordinary stuff there, Jim. You had the pleasure to sort of talk to him there.
Yeah, I know. He was, as he said, I mean, he's quite amazed that it's taken so much press. As I said to him, better to be in the news than not in the news, but for the right reasons. I think he said more tweets and social networking about breaking a window than actually his 100. But it doesn't really matter. I'm not really sure that the having glass windows, if there are any other sort of other windows you can get in a pavilion at a cricket match, is a sensible thing in the first place. But yeah, these things happen, doesn't it? I'm pleased to see that he's actually that worried about it that he got annoyed at being run out. A lot of cricketers up and down the country, worldwide, will throw gloves, throw bats, and be annoyed at being out. And this pain just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Now, we were talking to Matt Pryor at a fantastic evening down in London for the Mark Davis testimony. We also managed to catch up with Monty Panesar. He hasn't been breaking any windows recently, but he has been producing good performances. And one of the questions I asked him here was whether he thinks he's in line for a return to the England team.
Talking of a happy team and team spirit, you were part of the England squad this winter, which won the Ashes. What was that like? I know you didn't play, but you must be obviously part of with the team and the training. What was that like to be part of that winning squad after so long?
Yeah, I really enjoyed being out there. Obviously, you had to give a lot of team time, being 12th man, and do a lot of team activities, which was really helpful for me. And I really enjoyed the whole trip out there, especially 4 years ago when we lost at Sydney. To witness going back to Sydney this time round and winning it was a really good feeling.
And some people are thinking that England may play 2 spinners at the Rose Bowl. Do you fancy your chances of getting a recall?
Well, we just have to wait and see with how things unfold there. It'll be obviously fantastic if that is the case. We'll just have to wait and see how things obviously unfold. I'm just absolutely enjoying myself here at the Mark Davis testimonial function.
Yes, Monty sort of pouring cold water there on my sort of assertion that he'll be back, but he doesn't seem to think he'll be involved. But I think it's only a matter of time before he's back.
See, that's interesting, isn't it? Because if he doesn't perceive that he's playing for an England place, what does that say about where his mind is? I think he's more being diplomatic than not wanting to play. I think. But why not say, give the opportunity, be more positive about it? Well, given the opportunity, I'd love to play. I think I probably can bring something. We're just talking about 5 bowlers. He's the other option. You don't have to play another seam bowler. Another spinner.
Play 2 spinners in the Rose Bowl.
Exactly, ball turning away from the bat. and he does bring something to the game. The crowds like him. There's a positive vibe about English cricket. Why not play him now? Again, he can drop in lower order because and push Pryor back up to 6 again. So another Sussex player in the England eye line there. But yeah, he can still bring a lot. Obviously, it means Sussex will play him more if he's not on England duty, as with all the county players that have sometimes drawn away from duties by international calls. But it's good to hear from him. I'm glad he's enjoying his cricket, which he needs to, because he's a fun character, and I think people will thrive off that.
Let's move on to some other cricket being played at the moment. We've got the West Indies taking on India. It's been a little bit one-sided so far. We've seen some turning tracks out there in Trinidad. India winning the 2020 pretty comfortably, winning both one-day internationals as well. The West Indies, they're still not playing Gale or Chanderpaul. Dwayne Bravo's having a rest. Got a workload management system going on, building phase for them. Really.
Having a rest against India?
Well, it seems like a bit of a painful building phase for them at the moment.
They've got a lot of internal politics to sort out, and I think until they do that, they're just treading water, really, sadly to say. As we all know, there's been a bit of resurgence and interest in West Indies cricket with the film Fire in Babylon doing, a great release internationally, as well as in particularly in the UK at the moment. And it just gives people an idea of why they're playing for the West Indies, why they're wearing the badge. I'd like to see a bit more pride and passion coming out of them, because they are a great team. They bring a very athletic and skillful abilities to the game of cricket, and they need to be performing. Gale has to play Test cricket. He needs to be sorted out. It's a shame that I think money is the root of all this. All the money's coming into the game. Has meant that people are now playing for money as opposed to playing for the badge, which is a shame, because that's not why most people got into cricket in the first place. It's now becoming a career as opposed to lucky to play the game and to be paid for doing it.
There is maybe a slight bright spot on the horizon that recently Zahir Khan and Shantu Kumar and Sreesanth have been ruled out of the Test series. So India very much sending a below strength squad. No Tendulkar, no Dhoni, for example, for their ODIs as they're preparing for that England tour, but it's going to be very tough for the West Indies. It
is. I don't mind those players being managed, because they put the hard yards in. They've earned their rest, and I think for India to manage, ahead of their tour of England, absolutely right. It's a tour, it's a one-dayers, it's still a slog. Have some rest. Any player you talk to will always say, "I feel better" when they've had a rest. Batsman, bowler, doesn't matter. And these guys, Tendulkar will go on to these 50 probably. Which means he'll score 1 trillion runs. He'll beat probably every record in the book, which is great, because he's such a good player that people will want to watch him. And I think he's probably got at least another set of tours in him before he finally hangs up his wood.
I just want to finish this part of the show with just a bit of a chat about a news story that's been dominating the headlines, particularly in England and Pakistan. Mohammed Amir, of course, has been banned for 5 years for his part in the spot fixing. He's turned out for an English club side, and he thought he was playing a friendly in private grounds, not so a league game. And just what on earth is going on there, Jim?
Yeah, I'm not overly sure what is between his ears, JP, because if he didn't know that he was playing in a league game,
he's been very badly advised.
Then he's been badly advised. But having said that, he still can choose whether or not to walk on a pitch. I'm surprised the opposition didn't say, "Excuse me, isn't that Mohammed Amir?" Yes, it is. You're not allowed to play him. And helped out, or else they just said, well, that's fine, because they'll lose the game, we'll take the points.
They did go on to win the game, this particular club, Addington down in Surrey, but
yeah, but it's wrong. It's wrong, and that's the end of it. It shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have been advised to play, or he shouldn't have played anyway. And now there's a lot of hot water going around. The Surrey League will have to do something about it.
Yeah, that's right. We've got the ICC investigating, we've got the ECB investigating as well, because obviously the Surrey League falls under their jurisdiction. So
there's a lot of people on that chain of events that will have been involved or might have been involved. It shouldn't have happened. There's plenty of time to sort it out and not play. But he's gone and done it again.
Let's move on. Thanks very much, Jim. Entertaining and brilliant as ever. Time to finish off this week's show with the ICC show this week, including interviews with Muttiah Muralitharan, what a fantastic legend in the game he's been. Still playing some cricket these days for Gloucestershire, of course. And there's also a look ahead to the Rose Bowl series. And that, of course, involves Australia and New Zealand women's teams, and interviews with Lisa Sthalekar and Amy Watkins.
Hello and welcome to ICC Cricket World with me, Jatin Sapru. Exciting stuff lined up for you in the next 15 minutes. First, let's check out what's on the show today. We chat with India's leading pacer Zahir Khan, where he talks about exercising ghosts of the previous editions of the World Cup and winning back the Holy Grail and lots more. Also talking to us will be another member of India's World Cup winning squad, Skipper Dhoni's apparent lucky charm, the mercurial Santakumaran Sreesanth. Also on the show today is an exclusive chat with Ian Chappell, who navigates us to Australia's road ahead after finally losing their World Champions title. But first up, it's Gautam Bhimani bringing us the latest happenings in the world of cricket. Here's presenting our news segment.
Pakistan Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani has said that the ICC Cricket World Cup 2011 semi-final clash between India and Pakistan has acted as a catalyst for improving ties between the two nations. Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had invited his Pakistani counterpart to witness the highly anticipated match in Mohali, which India won by 29 runs. In a reception recently held by Gilani to honour the Pakistan cricket team, he said that it was not a question of winning or losing as much as it was to win the hearts of the people across the border. Praising the Pakistan cricket team's performance in the World Cup, Gilani announced a sum of ₹1 million for each player of the team and 5 lakhs for each of the management staff. Meanwhile, as per an order issued by Sri Lanka's Sports Minister Mahinadananda Althugamage, all Lankan players participating in the IPL have been called back home to train for their upcoming tour of England. Althugamage wants Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardene, Lashit Malinga and others to put country over the lucrative IPL. He also added that in future, Sri Lankan players can only participate in foreign tournaments if it does not hamper their commitments to the national team. The tour, which starts on the 14th of May with a game against Middlesex, comprises of 3 test matches, 5 ODIs and a one-off 2020 international. The Islanders are also scheduled to play a one-off ODI each against Ireland and Scotland just a day after their final ODI against England on the 9th of July. And finally, just days after Bangladesh failed to make it to the quarterfinals of the ICC Cricket World Cup, the Bangladesh Cricket Board has decided to part ways with national coach Jamie Siddons. In an official statement, the BCB stated that Siddons' contract, which expires on the 30th of June, will not be renewed. The board also said that the team had done really well in the past 4 years under Siddons, but it was time to bring in some new support staff.
So after a successful stint by Jamie Siddons, it's time for the Bangladesh Cricket Board to find a new ringmaster. But there is someone who's mastered the trade of fast bowling and making batsmen dance to his tunes, Zahir Khan, who played a crucial role in India's World Cup winning campaign. Here is he in a conversation with Sai Prasad Mohapatra, talking of exercising the ghost of the previous editions of the World Cup.
Zach, what would you call it? A poetic justice that the shadow of 2003 World Cup is not going to chase you any longer?
Well, I'm glad that I had that opportunity to change things, but I by no means regret the fact that the 2003 didn't go my way in the finals. But it was a great learning experience. I was much more well prepared for the finals in 2011. I felt very proud when a lot of my teammates and the support staff came up to me and say that Zach, the first 3 medals you bowled, that really tightened the screw as far as Sri Lanka's defeat is concerned, and that's for me is really satisfying as a leading bowler.
What would be that interaction or an instance that has top of the mind recall value that you will never forget that moment with Gary?
Well, I won't hesitate to say this, that Gary is the only coach who has understood me well. He has given me freedom to express myself. He's understood the kind of space I like to get into, and I like to do certain things differently, and he's kind of given me freedom to achieve that.
It's also a culmination of a lot of hard work when you get to the point where you wanted to. There are a lot of people who have attributed their success to a lot of people in their life. Is there anyone special in your life that you would like to attribute?
Well, my parents, I think they've sacrificed enough in their lives. It's been amazing. How they've kind of supported me in all the decisions I've made, and that includes all the unorthodox ways also I have to go about my life.
can you say for sure that you were in absolute control of things, that Zaheer Khan is maturing, is basically blossoming to the fullest?
Well, I think I gained momentum at the right time. Like before the World Cup, if you look at 6 months prior to the World Cup, I was a bit concerned. My body was not responding the way it should be responding. I was not able to gain that momentum. Leading up to the World Cup, but in time, things fell into place. South Africa, I really needed to play a full series, which I played in South Africa. Just missed one test match. That's what was required for me. And once I played that, I knew that I got what I wanted. I just need to build on this.
If I were to ask you, of all the 21 wickets that you took, which one would you put right on the top in the context of that particular match?
One was definitely Strauss. It was a game-changing moment there, and I bowled a perfect Yorker there. I was very thrilled with that. The second, I would say Mike Hussey, because on that particular day, Ricky Ponting was playing really well. It was really important from the bowling unit to break that partnership. When Hussey came on to bat.
Almost all the eligible bachelor in the team, it was a cut-off date, World Cup. For them to, after that post-which perhaps they were thinking to settle down. That also includes you. So which way it is headed?
As I said, I'm basking in the glory of the World Cup right now. We are the champions. Just enjoying that. Haven't really thought about a lot of things. And as far as the cut-off date or anything that sort concerned, I've never really given it a thought. I'm enjoying my cricket. There are too many responsibilities on me, and let's see how things pan out.
And if you're wondering what could be the reason behind the new swanky haircut and the golden streak, rumour mills are rife that perhaps the wedding bells could soon be ringing for Zach. And who could perhaps be dancing on his wedding? Someone who's mastered the art of breakdance could perhaps well be in that ceremony, but for the moment he's happy breaking backs of the opposition with the ball. Sreesanth here in a conversation with Swaroop Kar.
Yeah, Sri, what was your first reaction after Dhoni hit that winning six?
We actually, the moment he hit the middle of the bat, we knew it's a six, and nothing like winning a World Cup through six, and Dhoni Bhai is known for hitting sixes, and we were all excited, and we just ran to the field. I was not even wearing my shoes. I remember going to the podium to get the gold medal without my chapala or shoes.
And Sachin broke into tears. How was it to see him in tears?
We were all in tears.
Yes, obviously.
To see Sachin Paji, it is a happy tears and emotional, and it was a big thing for us. We wanted that cup for the last 3 years, and in fact from 2007 we were saying we should win it, and every meeting we had, it was more like when we play the finals in Wankhede Stadium. So everybody knew what we were supposed to do, and we were very emotional, yes, but seeing that happiness in Sachin Paji, and knowing him very personally and as a team member, and I mean that is the only thing which he has never had in his belt. But now nobody in the world can say he's not the best cricketer. In fact, the way I call him is Master of the Universe, Jedi. So I think Jedi has no comparison. So and he decides what to do. So cricket is equal to Sachin, I think, or Sachin is equal to cricket.
So a long gap of 28 years has come to an end, and India finally once again are the world champions. The title, which for the last 3 editions of the World Cup had been attached with the mighty Australians. But now when it's apparent that the Australian domination has come to an end, let's speak to someone who knows a thing or two about the country, former captain Ian Chappell, talking to us about the road ahead. Chappelli, thank you so much for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. It appears to be that Ricky Ponting finally heard what you had to say about him giving up captaincy and Michael Clarke taking over the rebuilding phase. Do you reckon the first few steps taken in Australia's resurrection have been in the correct direction?
Well, when you've got basically a new team, or you're heading in that direction, there's no point in having an old captain. You've got to have a new captain to go with it. And I think Michael Clarke was the right bloke to take over. He's made a good start. But it's not how you start as a captain. It's how you progress. And I think Michael Clarke has an opportunity to be a good captain.
Chupelli, would you say that the kind of role now Ricky Ponting should play is the one that Mahela Jayawardene played with Kumar Sangakkara with the Sri Lanka team, with all the captaincy experience that he's got? He should try and pass on the tricks of the trade to Michael Clarke and make sure that before he retires, Clarke knows just all the tricks about the trade.
No, I don't think that at all. I think in fact exactly the opposite. It's Michael Clarke's job now, and he should do it his own way. There's not much point in having Ricky Ponting resign as a captain and then be advising Michael Clarke. I mean, if Michael Clarke wants to know something from Ricky Ponting, he asks him. But pointless having the captain resign, and then you just get more of his style of captaincy if he's dictating the terms.
Chupelli, it's been a while in Australia after a captain giving up captaincy, playing under another captain. What kind of a character does it talk about of Ricky Ponting?
Well, I mean, he's made the decision, so obviously he's happy with it. Now, he's obviously going to have to test the water. He may find that just being a player, after having all the responsibility of being captain, he might find that a bit dull and boring, and it could be that his interest in going on as a player wanes pretty quickly. But he may go the other way. He may enjoy doing it, just being a player and being a lot more relaxed without the responsibility. But he'll know pretty quickly which way it's going. He won't be able to tell after playing against Bangladesh because it wasn't a very testing series. But you've got Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, and then you've got South Africa coming up, and those two series will be really strong tests. And I think by the end of perhaps the South African series, Ricky Ponting will know if if there's still enough incentive there for him to go on as a player. But he'll know pretty quickly.
Thank you, Chupelli, for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. Moving ahead, it's time to find out what's been happening on the rankings chart. Here's Kavyanath with all the latest from the Reliance ICC Test Rankings.
In the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for batsmen, two legends of the modern game, Sachin Tendulkar and Jacques Kallis, share the top honours with 883 rating points each. Sri Lanka's Kumar Sangakkara is just 1 point behind the Giants and could well be placed on top of the charts when Sri Lanka tour England early next month. With 826 ratings points, England's Jonathan Trott is on 4th spot, followed by teammate Alistair Cook on 5th. The Nawab of Najafgarh Virender Sehwag is at number 6 with 719 rating points, while Mahela Jayawardene, Shivnarayan Chandrapal, VVS Lakshman and Thilan Samarveera hold the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th spots respectively. Bangladesh's Tamim Iqbal is at 19th place, is the lone player for his country to feature in the top 20 rankings. Meanwhile, South African speedster Dale Steyn rules the roost in the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for bowlers. England spinner Graham Swan and pacer James Anderson are at 2nd and 3rd spots respectively. Morne Morkel is placed 4th in the rankings, while India's Zaheer Khan sits pretty at 5th place. Australia's left-arm fast bowler Mitchell Johnson occupies the 6th spot. India's go-to spinner Harbhajan Singh is stable on 7th place, while Bangladesh's Shakib Al Hasan is close behind at 8th. Former New Zealand skipper Daniel Vittori and England's Stuart Broad own the 9th and 10th spot respectively. In the Reliance Test Championship, India is sitting at the peak with 128 ratings points, while South Africa are 2nd with 117 points. England are just 2 points adrift of the Proteas and are placed 3rd. Meanwhile, 6 points separate England from Sri Lanka, who are currently at 4th place. One-time world dominators Australia are languishing at number 5, while Pakistan are placed 6th on the table. West Indies and New Zealand are on 7th and 8th respectively.
Well, with that, we've come to the end of what's been an exciting 15 minutes of ICC Cricket World. Just a quick update, the next show will bring you more from the Pepsi World Cricket League Division 2, where at the moment, it's the United Arab Emirates who've almost cemented their berth in the final. You can catch all the updates of the tournament on icc-cricket.com. With that, it's time for me, Jatin Sapru, to bid you goodbye with a promise. We'll see you again next week with 15 more exciting minutes of cricket on ICC Cricket World. Until then, it's goodbye.